Cheryl, your defense there in the second half, particularly in that fourth quarter, just really turned it up a notch. What was the emphasis there that you were trying to tell your team just about really locking in on that side?
Yeah, I think once we, settled in after setting records in the wrong direction, we spent all of halftime, sort of figuring out how we could defend better and, defend the paint and, address what their concerns were. Obviously, the video really helps. And so it was a collaborative effort. I asked them what they wanted to do in some of the, schemes. And so it was collaborative. They were all engaged. And, we cleaned up guarding, probably the most difficult play for any team in the league to guard, which is their flat action for AT, where they invert the ball screen and they, take your smallest player and go ball screen. That's what she had, 18 points in the first half or 16, whatever it was. Once we solved that a little bit, made that a little harder, they went to other areas in their offense. And, we were mostly prepared for some of that. So credit to the players, 47 points is a lot of points. We were disappointed in that. And we hung in there. I didn't think we played great offensively. Credit to Phoenix. We know that they're physical. It's kind of crazy. A total of 10 free throws in the game. Nobody can complain, I guess, right? There was no big discrepancy, 6-4. But no, I just thought our toughness and just finding our footing, and we knew it might take a little bit. This is the first time we've seen this group as a whole, the Phoenix team whole. The other teams that we saw didn't look anything like this, and so we knew it'd be a learning experience for us.
Congrats on the win, Coach.
Thank you.
Court seemed to just be awesome in the second half, especially in that inverted ball screen.
Well, she was a part of the conversation at halftime, and she's like, can we try this? Can we do this? And can we? So, she kind of put her money where her mouth was and tried to kind of, change things for us and make things a little more difficult. So she was our deflection winner, career high 5 steals. I think tied a franchise record in steals. So, yeah, no, Court was terrific.
And Masha has been getting praises from teammates, you kind of all season, but to come up in a game like this where she hasn't played in the first round and just be the impact that she was, what can you say about Masha?
Yeah, didn't play in the first round, didn't play in the first half. And, we just got to the point where we felt like we just needed something different, and Mosh rose to the occasion for us. Her 8 minutes were the best 8 minutes of the game. And so credit to Mosh for being ready and being big. She did what she needed to do, getting a jump ball when we needed it, the O boards, the loose defensive rebounds. It was very, very impactful 8 minutes. I'm happy for Mosh.
So with Courtney, she does seem to really be able to just turn things on in the second half. How does that give you confidence knowing that that's the player you're going to see as one who just can shoot lights out and all of that more in the second half?
That's one-sided. That's all Courtney. That's not how I think. I go by what I see. And if I see a first half that isn't great, I don't take that leap of faith that she takes. I'm hopeful. I'm always cautiously optimistic. But I don't hold that as a guarantee. What I appreciate about Courtney was, again, just listening and, just kind of diagnosing and kind of believing us when we tell her, there are certain things available and that we needed aggression. You have to be able to have aggression against these guys. And Courtney did it for us, even though she's one of the smallest players on the court. She got to good spaces and, player of the game for us.
Cheryl, this is a Phoenix team that, given all the traveling they've been doing and having a hard game the other night. Over here.
Oh, shit. What are you doing over there? There's so many seats here, Pat. My bad.
Oh, boy. Given tired the first 3 quarters. I was wondering if you guys ran a lot on them in the fourth quarter. I wonder if part of that was to finally just tire them out.
No, that might have been something that happened, but we wanted to play off our defense. We wanted to do that in the first quarter. So being able to play off our defense and getting stops and getting rebounds and going, that was the product of that. And, getting the separation when we did, and, K-Mac's big three, off kick out, that kind of really gave us some control. It's a great game. I thought both teams, did a lot of things they wanted to get done, and now we go look at some things, and then obviously Tuesday's game will be just as hard.
Hey, Cheryl, just kind of back to Masha a little bit. Like, what goes into that decision down the stretch? I mean, you put her in, I think, with like 4 minutes to go, and
yeah.
She hadn't played, and Alana's the Defensive Player of the Year. But how do you kind of just go through your head and work through what you need in that moment and the confidence to go to her in that spot?
Well, she played earlier in the quarter. She kind of wrapped the second. She was out when we tried to get Fee a little bit of time. Was thrilled that we got Fee off the floor for 6 minutes. And that started that fourth quarter, allowed us to do that. So her minutes in the fourth, how she played and the impact that she had, and then missing a defensive rebound was kind of the final straw. That we said, this was not, it can't be, if we're going to win, we've got a defensive rebound. And so, we thought Mosh might be able to help us out in that area. She also helped us out on the offensive rebound. So, and again, that jump ball. So, that's kind of what went into it. Just, I like.
And collectively, they can do a lot of their own problem solving, it sounds like. And it's obviously you've guided that, but to reach that point where they can really help make those decisions.
Yeah. Well, and they did it a lot last year. That's why I knew they were special. They problem solve together. They don't finger point. So think about the worst moments of the game for us, which was most of the first half. You didn't go back to the locker room with, people. And it's a mature group, emotionally mature. I didn't do anything to bring that along. That's just who they've always been. Sometimes you unite a group through their disdain for me. I think that's also one way to do it. So there's probably a little bit of that too. Thanks.
What is it about the second half of games that just makes you, I don't know, explode? Do you just always seem to have energy in the second half that's maybe more than the first half? Is there a confidence you get when you keep playing?
I think I just want to win. So, like, it may look like that. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Because I should bring the same energy for 40 minutes. So I try to bring the same energy for 40 minutes, but maybe it's just a different perspective for you because it's go time.
And Kayla, when you see her starting to go off like that in the third quarter, like, what confidence does that bring you guys?
I always have confidence in Courtney, but I think that when she changes her pace, between her and T, actually, like their pace, it's a 40-minute game, So when we're able to have spurts of that and transition, her getting to her pull-up, things like that, it gives us energy, as a group when we get out in transition, and that's where, that's our bread and butter. And so when she's out there hooping and confident, it's contagious. And so, it just becomes a lot of fun out there playing the game within the game.
When Cheryl was in here, she was talking about the conversation that you guys had collectively as a team about how to turn your defense up a couple notches there in the second half. Just what was that conversation like? Courtney, she said that you had a big voice in just trying to figure out what adjustments you guys had to make there in the second half to slow down Phoenix.
Yeah, I think when you got players that's going off, you got to come in at halftime and throw out ideas and throw out different things. So I think we do a good job of just adjusting, and it worked.
For both of you, talking about that halftime conversation, Cheryl described it as collaborative, said all of you guys were sharing ideas. Like, what does it mean that she gives you guys the space to do that rather than kind of just pulling you in and yelling at you guys to get it in gear?
Yeah, Cheryl's great at getting to the next play. Like even in our huddles, she might be very upset about something, but she's like, all right, and get into the next play, and that helps us. Because the game is ebbs and flows, and we understand that. So we've been through a lot of adverse situations in the last 2 years together. And so we always know it's a team effort. And I think in those moments when we need to brainstorm, do whatever it takes to win. And that's what that halftime it was just another example of that in our halftime conversation.
For either of you, Masha came in the fourth quarter, seemed to get her hands on everything that Phoenix was trying to do, especially since she hadn't been getting a ton of minutes. You know, how big was that performance from her to stay ready and come in and help you guys in a tough spot in that fourth?
I mean, it was huge, man. If you would have heard us in the locker room when we gave a shout out to Mosh, we always turned for her, cause we know what she could do, man. She know what she can do out there, and we believe in everything that she can do. So she was definitely a game changer for us. Like you said, when you sit in most of the game and you got to come in and make that instant impact, you just got to be mentally strong, and that's exactly what she is. And she came in and did her thing.
Yeah, I mean, 8 minutes plus 14. That's huge. That's the difference between winning and losing. And I think in the playoffs, in any game, really, when you can have your bench or somebody from your bench give you any type of energy, you know, because we exert so much energy throughout the game. It's such a momentum builder. And so I was really proud of Mosh, you know. And it's just nice knowing that we're built that way and we can have anybody step up at any time.
I think there to start the fourth, BC gives y'all the first lead of the night and then kicks it out to you for a three, Kayla. And so, I mean, I was just curious, like, what do you between last game and this game, I mean, what has she brought to the team in these kind of clutch minutes, making an impact there?
I mean, she's just doing what she does. I think it's a little bit of everything. You'll see her on one of the best players, and you'll see her make big shots. And I think today she was able to get in the paint and kind of create for others, create for herself. That she hit a big one into the shot clock. And she just wants to win too. You know, she's competitive, and she's just willing to do whatever she needs to do and patch things up, kind of like the glue for us. And we understand that. She's just steady and hits a lot of big shots. And it just makes the right play each and every time she's out there. So we know, especially as a starting group, that she's just going to be that glue for us.
Yeah, this is for either one of you. A couple of weeks ago, after a game, Fee was in here talking about one of the things that you guys needed to work on down the stretch, and she mentioned rebounding. I mean, you look at what you guys did today, particularly off the offensive board. How did and the team effort too? I mean, every starter had at least 6 rebounds. How do you collectively do that?
Energy, effort, right? Like rebounding is all about your energy and your effort. We understand it's the playoffs, man, so we don't want to lose because of 50-50 balls or rebounds. So I think you take pride in that, and I think we all take pride in that. You know, you can't see your teammates out there crashing and you just standing. That ain't no good look. So I think we all take pride in it.
Yeah, and it's just a possessions game too. You know, when you're in a series, you just value possessions so much more. You know, and I think Cheryl has really called on us too as guards to make sure we're getting in there. And things like that. I know she did for me. She sent me a whole statistic on my rebounding. So there was a lot of red on there. So I figured I should kind of step up at some point. And so, you know, just want to be that person that's, you know, doing everything that your team needs you to do. And that includes rebounding, not just 3. So that's all.
Courtney, 5 steals tonight, 3 of those in the third quarter. I was just interviewing a fan in the corridor there. They said, "Court runs the court." So trademark that if you want to.
Trademark.
But just what's going through your head in those moments when you're getting steal after steal? Like, are you looking at it as just like a moment of opportunity, or is this something that you intentionally think of, like, I'm going for the steal at any moment I can get?
Nah, honestly, it's just my natural reaction. I just follow my instinct. So if I see a moment, yeah, it's just an instinctual thing. It's not really something I think about.
This is to either of you. You know, Cheryl has talked, you know, pregame and postgame now about kind of AT, the drag screen where they have the guard come up and set the pick to get a switch. Just how hard is that to defend when you're getting switched onto AT and she has that head of steam?
I mean, AT's a great player, and, you know, she's continuously shown that throughout her career. So you just want to, when you're playing against great players, you know that they're going to be able to get part of what they do well, what they do great, why they're, all, you know, she's in the MVP conversation and things like that. And so you just got to keep fighting, you stay competitive, and you do what you can. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the game within the game, and it's about our competitive edge too, I think too, you know, for us, just limiting AT as best as we can. That's it. You know, great players are still going to do their thing.
And Court, you've talked about it quite a bit this year and last year of just your relationship with Cheryl, but can you just expand on that a little bit about the trust that goes in between you two, where you are kind of spearheading those plays, the decisions at halftime, and mixing up coverages?
I mean, I think, that's my dog. So I feel like we have a very genuine, very real relationship. Sometimes we butt heads, but it's like your family, right? Like, you always figure it out. And that's what we do. So that's my dog. Believe it.